Hello and welcome to Let's Link Up. My name is Nimi Bello, CEO and founder of Link Empower. I'm so excited for today's guest. We'll be talking to Seun Adekoke, aka Seun Compere, TV girl, host, actress, the list goes on and on. She's the ultimate boss babe. Excited to be talking about her journey and how she even got to where she's at today. Welcome, Seun.
Thank you.
Good to have you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely. I'm so excited. I feel like I'm talking to one of my girlfriends.
Okay.
So just get up in our business today. So
we already have that vibe. So
we
that helps.
already. So that helps a whole lot.
Right.
So, but before we get into it, tell everybody, who you are, what you do, and how you got started on your journey.
Hi, everybody. My name is Seun, aka Seun Compere, as she said. I am I would say former TV girl, but still a little bit of a TV girl. I host events. I host everything from weddings to concerts to birthdays, baby showers, bridal showers, all things events.
Wow, impressive.
Also, yes, I've done a little bit of acting in the past. I haven't done much acting lately, but yeah, a little bit of everything.
That sounds amazing. So you said a lot, and I know it wasn't an overnight success.
No.
So I want you to kind of break it down, even how you got started or why you even do what you do.
Thank you so much. So many years ago, in my early 20s, I was working on television and I was, hosting several, different TV shows. I even used to work for like a TV station in Nigeria called AIT. It's very popular. African Independent Television. Did a little bit of that. Did some radio as well. But I didn't feel complete. I wasn't happy. I felt like the industry back then it was really rough. You kind of had to, back then, things have changed now with,
Right.
social media and everything. But back then you had to like compromise your morals. Like you had to do some crazy things just to like get ahead. So I was kind of tired of the hustle. So I basically just quit cold turkey, quit everything, moved back to the US, got married, had kids, and was even working like a 9 to 5. Like I was happy working at Bank of America. Like I was like, okay, this is my new life and I'm going to do it. I even went back to school, got my master's degree, got my MBA, and I was just like focused. And then, but I always knew that something was missing. Like I always knew that, this cannot be life. Like I cannot just wake up and go to somebody's office every day.
So I wanna pause right there.
Right.
You kept saying something was missing.
Something was missing.
Can you kind of elaborate more on what was that something that was missing? I think that's a good place for us to kind of unpack when you say
Right.
something is missing, because I feel like as a woman, we all go through different seasons, different stages. I kind of want to unpack that a little bit.
Yeah, so I was happily married, still happily married. My husband would be like, was. No, I am happily married, and I have two beautiful, I need to stop talking in past tense, okay? I have two beautiful kids, happily married. Even my career, even like my 9 to 5 was going really well. Everything was going well, but I just always knew that I was called for something else. I always knew that there was a higher purpose, but I just didn't know what it was. Like, I really did not know what it was. But I just knew that there was something missing. I would always look back at the entertainment industry that I walked away from and all the opportunities that I walked away from. And I would always look back and just think, would I ever come back to this? Like, by this time, everybody had forgotten me.
Wow.
Like when you walk away, entertainment is very fickle. So
Right.
if you're not relevant, you're not relevant. Like the fans are very fickle. So people forget about you very
Wow.
quickly. Like when they
Wow.
don't see you on their TV stations anymore or on their radio stations or whatever, like they walk away. Like they walk away with you. As
Wow.
you walk away,
Do
they
you-
walk the other way.
So even with that, do you ever just wonder, like, what if? Like, what if I stayed the course, I didn't close that chapter, to start a family, to
Yes.
really focus on building yourself? Do you ever wonder, like, have any regrets or like have any like what if moments?
I wouldn't say regrets because I was able to have marry my best friend, my husband, and I was able to have the most beautiful kids in the world. Like they are my life. So I was happy in that regard.
Right.
But the what if was, I would look at people that kind of started at the same time as me. I mean, I would look at, like, I don't want to mention any names, but I would look at people that even I used to interview that used to beg me, please, can you interview me? And I'll look at them like succeeding and breaking boundaries.
Right.
And that used to kind of make me feel down. Like, man, look at this girl that used to beg me for interviews. Like now I can't even reach her. Like she doesn't
It's
even
very-
know me.
yeah.
It really hurt. Like I felt like I failed. I felt like a complete failure. Like I was like, wow, I failed. Like I failed at this. So
Do you ever see yourself going back?
so to move on with the story, so recently, not recently, I'll say 2 years ago, people would come to me and ask me to host their events. And I was like, okay, why are these people, like, why is it all of a sudden? Like, not one person, not two, like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people would be like, back to back, like, oh, can you host my event? And I'll host one person's event and it will do so well. And another person will come in, maybe a guest at that event would see that and be like, oh, can you host mine too? Like, and then I started coming up with excuses like, oh, sorry, I'm suddenly out of town, because I didn't mean to lie, but
Imposter syndrome kicked in.
Yeah, I was like, why are all these people asking me to host their events? It was kind of a sign. And I was like, okay, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? And then one day I was hosting an event. I'm very spiritual, so I hope this people.
No,
Okay.
girl. We talk about it.
We talk about everything,
God,
right? Yeah,
we talk about
good.
everything here. So feel free.
I'm very spiritual, and one day I was hosting an event in church, and I was on the stage, and the event went really well. And I was on the stage, and I heard a voice loud and clear tell me, "This is what you've been called to do."
Wow.
And I was like, huh? Like, but I had to compose myself because I was
Yeah.
hosting. But in my mind, I was like, I know I just heard something. I know I'm not crazy. So I went home, prayed about it, talked to my husband about it. He's the father of my children. I have to get his consent. I have to
Right.
get his approval. So I talked to him about it, and he was like very much on board. And, I was like, okay, so who is going to hire me? Like, who's going to hire me to host their events? Like, nobody knows me. Like, who is going to actually, who's going to take me serious enough to make it like a business? Like, who's going to pay me? Like, who is going to actually care, like,
Right.
to actually pay me?
And you'll be surprised when you put yourself out
right.
there.
So I
Right.
put this, I prayed about it some more, and I put this declaration out on Instagram because I knew that if I put it out on Instagram, I wouldn't be able to back out because,
Yes.
I've already put myself out there, which for me is hard because leaving the media, I became a private person.
Right.
So coming back out in the spotlight was kind of hard. So I put myself out there on Instagram, and I'm not joking. Like, it was like call after call. Like, people were like, oh yeah, I need you to host my event. People in London.
It's like they were waiting.
Yeah.
They were waiting for you
People
to.
in Nigeria.
Right.
And I was like, whoa. And it just kind of kept going like that. And then I turned it into a real business.
Wow.
Like, started branding it, like, started like making it a real thing. And then I, started like, created my contract, like got a lawyer, like made it like a real business.
It
Like,
became very official. It
yeah,
became
I
very
had a
surreal.
letterhead and everything, girl. I was like,
Wow.
oh, I'm official. So yeah, and I've
It's
not
just-
looked back ever since.
I think it's so important. And I was, as you were talking, I heard you mention the support of your spouse.
Yes.
What does that mean to you as a woman in this kind of industry of being not only a host but being in the media, the spotlight,
Right.
obviously.
Right.
So I just want to talk about the support of a spouse. How important or how essential is that for you as you continue your success?
Yes, thank you for asking me that question because I remember when I told somebody that I had to get approval from my husband, and she was like, you have to ask him? Yes, I have to ask him. Are you crazy? Like, this is the father of my children,
Right.
and his support means everything to me
Everything.
because without him, I wouldn't be able to do it. Like, I wouldn't be able to say, oh, I have an event, can you watch the kids? Or can we get a babysitter? Because he follows
Right.
me. He likes to come to most of my events. I like him to come to actually most of my events because I need that support.
Yes.
And he not only supports like, yeah, sure, you have my approval. Like,
Right.
he's hands-on about everything.
Right.
Like, oh, you're doing this wedding today. What are you going to talk about? Like, let's go through your agenda. And not only that, he will come to the event with me. Like, when clients are booking me, they know they're booking my manager because he
That's
manages
awesome.
me. And he will come to the event with me and he will sit with me. And, like, he will tell me when a joke is going south. He'll tell me the audience's reaction.
Right.
He'll tell me what to stop.
He's there as a third eye for you
Yes.
because you can't see everything.
I can't see everything,
Yeah.
and I can't really see the entire audience. Like, I remember one day I was making this joke, and he was like I just saw him in the back, like cut it. So that kind of thing. So he's
Yeah.
like full on support. But to answer your question, the important, you please, ladies, don't do anything without your spouse. Don't do anything without your spouse's approval or consent. You need that support. Like,
Right.
you need your spouse. Like, your spouse should be your backbone.
And I don't even think it's so much of getting the approval, right, or the consent.
Right.
I think it's more of having somebody who can partner with you as you
Right.
take on the challenges, the
Yes.
risks, because different things are going to come.
Yes.
It's not easy. It's not an easy feat to say
No.
yes to your vision
No.
and yes to your purpose.
No.
So I think just having that support that you said, only
Mm-hmm.
from not only for your mental, but I think spiritually, your husband is
Right. Mm-hmm.
the head, of the house. So
Yes.
I want to make sure that we're clear. It's not that, oh, she was asking.
We need permission.
Yeah, she wasn't collecting permission or asking
Right.
him, oh, can I do this? It was more of a, I need you to support my vision.
Yes.
Are you willing to go down this path with me? Because it will require some sacrifices.
Yes.
So, yeah.
And lots of sacrifices. I mean, I'm
Absolutely.
talking about, like, I'm a mom of 2 kids. And, the sacrifices can be not being able to spend the weekend, with my kids.
Right.
So I have to make up for it during the week. Like, if I know
Right.
that I'm hosting a wedding, for instance, I would always ask the clients, like, do you have childcare at your wedding?
Wow.
If they do, I am bringing my kids.
Right.
If they're okay with it, not to
Right.
impose or
Right.
anything.
Right.
Or, if I know that I'm going to be hosting, like, the entire weekend, I'm going to make sure that they're getting picked up from school super early
Right.
so that mommy can spend time with
Yeah,
them. So
you
it
have
comes
to
with
have
a lot of
you
sacrifice.
have to have a schedule. I'm
Right.
a mom too, so I completely understand that. I have
Yes.
2 boys, and it's not easy being a working mom.
No, it's not.
I don't think a lot of people understand how hard it is for women in the industry.
So hard.
Because we think about our kids
Yes.
before we think about anything.
Oh, yes.
Like I know this morning I was like, listen,
Me and you both.
I had to get my kids situated and
Right.
make sure they were good, and
Right.
then make my way here to, so I can be on time, get
Right.
makeup done, hair done. It's a whole process. So I
Exactly.
think women, hats off to all the women out there first and foremost.
It's
'cause
no
it's
joke.
not easy.
Like, I know me and you had a similar kind of morning. Like, even when I
Yes.
came here, you were doing your makeup. And I remember I was waiting for you. And I was looking at the time like, man, that could be 30 minutes with my kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're constantly
Right.
thinking about them.
Right.
Constantly.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not easy, and I love how transparent you are about
Oh, yes.
your journey. But I want to kind of talk about long term. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? I'm gonna ask that question.
Thank you. In the next 5 years, I see, like, I've not given that a thought, Nimi.
Well, I'm putting you on the spot.
You know,
Putting you on the
maybe
spot.
I think I want to go into more corporate events.
Okay.
So things like, the bigger brands like Coca-Cola, Nostrum, like, Macy's, like things like that. I'm an African girl and I can try to speak Fone as much as possible. Like, I can try, but that accent is still there. So I feel like that kind of holds me back sometimes, but, it's also marketable. I'm
It
finding
is.
that
I was
it's very marketable.
gonna say I think you should keep the accent.
Right, exactly. Not try to
It's-
speak some kind of
It's
Fone.
definitely an asset. It's definitely part of your brand.
Right.
I honestly don't think you should get rid of the accent. That's just me. So
Right. So definitely want to do more. I set goals and targets all the time. I haven't set a 5-year goal, but for instance, I set a goal that I wanted to host weddings. And I've been able to break barriers, and I'm going to talk about the wedding industry. Maybe you can ask me that later. I don't know. Because
I'm
it's
gonna
a
ask you
male-dominated
everything.
industry, and I'm somehow, some way sliding in and breaking barriers in that industry. So I set that target, and I started achieving that. So corporate is next. Trying to work with the
you
bigger
guys heard
brands.
her.
Yes,
You heard her.
If you're listening,
If you need a host,
if you know somebody that knows somebody, have them call my people.
we're going to be right back with Seun Compere. We're having great conversations talking about her journey. So stay tuned and we'll be back. Welcome back to Let's Link Up. Let's get back into our conversation with Seun. We've talked to her about her journey, how she got started. Now we're going to talk more about how she was able to be successful being in a male-dominated industry.
Oof.
So, yes.
That's a heavy one. Let's unpack that, shall we?
Let's go ahead and unpack it, shall we? Let's do it.
So coming into the industry, I didn't realize that I was coming into a male-dominated industry, like especially the wedding industry. So you go to like events, you see mostly guys are on the mic.
Right.
But it never clicked to me that when I was coming into this industry that this was a male-dominated industry. So when I wanted to go into weddings, I had hosted concerts and birthdays and showers and all that, and I was like, okay, I want to host weddings. Like, what's next? So when I wanted to host weddings, I was like, I'll talk to planners and things. They'll present me to the brides and the grooms or whatever, and they would say, oh yeah, we like her work, but we want a male.
Wow. Even females would say that.
Females would say that. The brides
Interesting.
would say that.
Wow.
That comment was coming from the brides.
That's very
Not the grooms,
interesting.
but the brides. And I was like, like what's going on? That really shocked me because I was like, you're a female and you're saying you don't want another female to succeed. Like that's kind of how I took it. But that never stopped me. I kept pushing myself and putting myself out there. Like I now started telling my friends, like, listen, if you have friends that, like, I would even work for free.
Right.
Like if you have friends that need a host, like, please let me know.
Putting
myself out there and not giving up because
Right.
the reception was not the best. Like I was not very well received. And I felt like sometimes, I was kind of hard on the planners because I was like, I feel like you're not pushing hard enough. So I started to do my own legwork, which is reaching out to the client, reaching out to my friends locally myself. Since the planners couldn't do anything for me, I was like, okay, I'm going to do it for myself. So I started telling my friends, and then I told my friend, and I know her friend was getting married.
Right.
And she was like, oh, are you available in August to host the wedding? And I was like, yes, I am.
But I honestly, I think it's even interesting. Sorry to cut you
Right,
off.
no, fine.
But I want to even go back to the fact that other women wouldn't want to support you.
No.
That's actually very well. It's not even surprising.
It was painful.
it's. I think that's the word. It's very painful that
Yes.
another woman
Yes.
wouldn't want to see another woman in that same light.
Crazy.
It's very interesting.
It was crazy. I was shocked. I was not ready for that. But my friend referred me to her friend. And in my mind, I was like, I'll work for free. Like, I was like, and then her friend is like, oh yeah, tell her to send her contract. And the next thing I know, I'm like, okay, this is what I charge. And they're like, yeah, sure. And they signed the contract.
Wow.
And I went to host the wedding. It was actually in Alabama. And I was so nervous, but it went really well. It was, in fact, probably one of the best weddings I've ever hosted. And so I put that information, the clip, like the playback of whatever, like the summary of the event that I usually do. I do that on my Instagram page.
Right.
So I put that out there and, put hashtag African wedding host, event host, this, that. And before I knew it, like, clients started to call. So it just took them seeing that body of work for them to actually trust and believe that I can actually do this. And constantly, when I host weddings, I'm constantly having to do a summary of the event, put a clip, put it out on Instagram. And I'm looking at my male colleagues. They don't have to do all that.
I was gonna say
They don't have
that.
to do all of
I
that.
was gonna say I think for women in any industry,
Right.
we always have to prove ourselves.
Overproof.
We have to constantly show like, hey,
Yeah.
I'm on top of my game.
This is what I can do.
We're
this is my
constantly
range of
fact-checking,
work.
constantly fact-checking. And I feel like it's mentally exhausting.
It is.
To even have to do that.
Yes.
I can only imagine, just even, how do you even talk about pricing?
Oh God, that is another topic. But I want to touch on even having to oversell yourself. Because the other day, I think I was posting a wedding and my husband was like, do you really have to put like 10 minutes clips out there? I'm like, yes, I do.
Yep.
I have to show from when we cut the cake to when the bride and groom, like I have to show my range.
Yes,
And
yes.
it really sucks that I have to do all of that. And I'm looking at my male colleagues and they just do like a selfie with the bride and the groom and they've sold
Oh,
themselves.
they don't have to do much.
Oh, they ain't got to do
They
all
don't
of
have
that.
to do much
Like
at
if you
all.
pay attention to their pages,
Right.
watch when they post weddings that they've hosted, you'll see that they don't even have to do all that. They just need to just show a selfie with the bride and groom and say, wedding in Arizona, it was fun, it was lit, that's
Right.
it. But I, the female, I have to show my full range of work.
And I think it's interesting that, like you talked about being able to dominate in a male industry, and I think it's very interesting that as a female, who most weddings we know that are catered to mostly women.
Yes, you would think,
You
right?
would think that women would want to see another woman hosting their wedding.
Yes, you would
so I
think.
think it's actually a very interesting, thought process. I don't know if it's a mindset thing, and I definitely want to pivot and talk more as a female host. Do you have other female hosts, like a group where you guys support each other, talk about gigs, talk about how to even better yourself, professional development, and so forth?
Right. Thanks for asking me that question. I'll touch on something else again. Yes, I wonder when you said about mindset.
Right.
I think most of it is mindset. Like
Right.
something about hearing the sound of a guy's voice blaring through the microphone. I'm guessing that makes weddings better. I don't
Right.
know. I don't know if it's a mind. Some of it is also. I really don't want to touch on this, but you want me to be transparent, right?
Let's be transparent.
Some of it is
That's why we're here,
yeah,
right?
some of it is a little bit of insecurity. Let me give you a story. This is a real story. I had a client call me to ask about my pricing or inquire on my events. Her friend or maybe her sister in the background in Pidgin, if you're not Nigerian,
Wow.
it's like a broken English that we speak. In the background said, "Don't hire that girl or she go thief your man."
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I heard it. I heard it loud and clear. Anyway, her friend, then I think they were on my Instagram page.
Wow.
Her friend was now trying to I don't even know what they are, sisters or whatever, was now just trying to just go with this flow, but I could tell that they were on my page, right? And she was like, okay, so I'll get back to you about pricing or whatever. In my mind, I had already tuned out. In my
Yep.
mind, I was like, even if you call me back,
I don't
I'm
wanna
not
do it.
interested because I
Right.
don't host for money.
Right.
I host because it's a passion and it's a purpose. So even if you call me back, I'm not even gonna do it because have you seen my man? Listen, have you seen what I'm working with?
Okay.
And some of it is insecurity. I'll say, I'm just gonna say it out. It's some women are just insecure. They don't want you around their men. Like they don't want you around their husband on their wedding day. It's facts.
Wow.
So you gotta also deal with that. But there was another question that you asked.
No, no, honestly, I think that was a good segue
Right.
even into the conversations that we've been having here. And I love the transparency piece
Yes.
and just kind of talking about your journey. It's not always peaches and roses.
No,
you
it's
know,
not.
With everybody fully walking in their purpose. And I think you said something. You said that you don't do this for money.
I don't. And I'm going to touch on that. I do not, I can say it with my full chest. I know that many of my clients that are watching would say, that's true. I don't do this for money. I do it because I love it. If somebody comes to me today and says, I need free hosting, I'll say yes.
Wow.
When the pandemic struck, when the pandemic hit, I had a lot of clients that had signed contracts with me and I had their money in my hands. I had their
Wow.
full payments in my account. And when the pandemic struck, I was calling every single one of them and giving them back their money. Some of them accepted the refunds. Some of them were like, no, hold on to it. We're going to do it in 2021.
Right.
A lot of them were shocked, like, wow, you're actually returning our money. I don't do it for money. When God himself comes down and speaks to you and tells you this is your purpose, you think money was what was in his mind?
It's a very interesting thought process. I've been in that same position. I'm still in that same position
Right.
where when I think about my vision and my purpose and just my journey, I always have to remind myself that I'm not in this for money.
Yeah.
And I
the
think,
money will come.
Yes, it's definitely, and I think
And
it's
it's
really
coming.
important.
Yeah.
It's really important, especially this day and age of social media, instant gratification. You get on Instagram and people are putting this false narrative like entrepreneurship is an overnight journey.
No, it's not. It's not.
And
And I
I-
want everybody to be very patient.
Oh yes.
Because the money will come. Like I've been in this for 2 years now, and now the money is coming. Like now I'm like the other day, my husband was sitting there and I gave a quote to a client. I think they're in Utah or something.
Right.
I told them this is my hotel cost. This is that, and they were like yes, And my husband and I looked at each other. And I was like, are they going to pay that? Like you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like the money will come.
Right.
Like people just need to pace themselves. Like be patient.
Yeah.
Like if you go into entertainment first of all for money, you're gonna be broke.
Ooh.
I learned that lesson when I was a TV girl a long time ago. You will
Right.
work for free for a very long time. You're not even gonna see anything for a while.
Even talking about your like being a TV girl, what's one memory that you carried along throughout your journey, like with you, like when you got started, being in the media and pivoting now into a hosting weddings and baby showers and all of those things. So I want to talk about like a pivotal like memory that you remember like when you first got started.
One thing that I remember is making people smile. Oh God, I hope I don't cry right now. But
Oh.
it's just, just back then I used to host this show called United States of Nigeria, and I'll travel around the U.S. and interview Nigerians in Hollywood, in the NBA, in the NFL, and people will watch the show all over Africa, and they will watch it in London, and they will send me
Wow.
back then Facebook was like social media,
Right.
and they will send me Facebook messages like, oh my God, I watched your episode, you made me laugh, you made me smile, you made me happy, and that was so fulfilling for me because just being able to put smiles in people's homes, that really made me happy, and that's one thing that stands out to me. And I try to bring that energy even into the events that I host.
Right.
Try to make everybody smile, try to make everybody happy. And when people come to my events, they know that, even if you're a quiet person, you're going to leave like super happy. And that makes me happy.
So I love that you talked about so what I heard from you basically is you don't do what you do for yourself.
No.
You do it to touch lives,
Yes.
to impact people
Yes.
from a positive standpoint, because we all could use a good laugh.
Yes, absolutely.
So I just want you to say a couple of words to that young girl who's out there
Yes.
that has the same aspirations, doesn't know how to get started. What is your advice to her?
Okay, so quick backstory on me. Seun was never the girl that would walk into a room, hold a mic, and command a room. Growing up, I think I've shared this with you before, I had very low self-esteem. I had no self-esteem. I thought I was not beautiful. I believed in the lie of the deceit of the enemy that I was not good enough and I was not worthy. So I had no confidence, and it affected me in every area and every aspect of my life until I went to boarding school and I found my voice through storytelling.
Wow.
Like I'll gather my friends around my bunk bed and I'll come up with all these stories, and like the audience started increasing. Like every day, it's like people are coming from different rooms to Seun's bedside to come and hear her stories. And that's how I found my voice, and that's how I found my confidence. I truly believe that the enemy can zoom into your future, see your purpose, and do everything to destroy it. So he gave me the lie that I was not good enough and I would not amount to anything, and I believed it. So I'll be in a room and I'll be shy and I'll have my head down, and I would also stare at people and just be lost in this space until I started to find my voice, and my confidence blossomed overnight.
Wow.
So, and here I am today. I can sit in a room. I've hosted concerts. I had like thousands and thousands of people and had everybody's undivided attention.
Nice.
I can command any room that I walk into.
Nice.
So I'm here to encourage every young girl out there. First of all, don't ever believe the deceit of the enemy. Don't ever believe the lie of Satan. Just believe in yourself. Be confident in yourself. And if you're not, find somebody that can be a guide to you,
I like
a
that.
mentor. If you
Yes.
want me, like, listen, please link my email address. I will mentor and coach every young girl out there for free.
You guys,
because I've been in your shoes.
You said for free.
Yes,
Well,
for free. Like, please, I've been in your shoes. If you need a coach, a mentor, a guide, somebody to guide you through life, please reach out to me.
I like that. And I think you said a lot of great gems. I know for me, I'm 1 year in entrepreneurship. And I just look back on my journey, and sometimes I wish I started earlier. Because the confidence, like you said, your confidence increases. You feel like
Yes.
you can accomplish anything.
Oh, yes.
And the moment I said yes to my purpose, I haven't looked back. I've taken risk. I've done some crazy things just to make sure that I continue down the path that God has given me.
Wow.
It's a very scary place to
Very.
be in. It looks easy, we're all dressed up here, we're sitting down.
Looking glam.
But we have days where we want to quit.
Yes.
It's going to happen. And I think it's important for mentorship, like you said. Mentorship is very important. And I love that we were transparent in this conversation. So thank you so much for even sharing your journey with us and
Yes.
telling us about all of the amazing things that you've done. But I definitely want to get you to tell us how we can link up with you and how we can stay in touch with you.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for the opportunity. If you want to find me, it's so funny because I've only promoted myself via Instagram. That's the only tool I've used.
Right.
So if you want to find me, you can find me at Seun Compere on Instagram. My email address is info@seuncompere.com.
All right, awesome. Do you have anything coming up that we should be in the know of?
Many things are in the pipeline, and I haven't signed contracts yet. So, but
Okay, it's on the hush.
But if you follow me on my page, you'd find out.
Yeah, awesome. Amazing conversation.
Thank you.
Yes. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Again, thank you so much, Seun, for sharing your journey with us at Let's Link Up. We're so glad to have an amazing guest today that was very transparent in her journey and talked a lot about her purpose and how she got started. Again, thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you at the next link up.